Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Take 5 for Torah. That means that we are going to discuss a chapter of Sefer Shmuel. Last week we did chapter 11. We are doing chapter 12 this week, which is Shmuel rebuking the people regarding their king. Remember earlier, Shmuel looked askance at their request for this. He felt they didn't need it. The Torah's command to have a king actually appears in the form of a wish. And if you say, I'd like to have a king, okay, if you feel the need, but they didn't have the need. At that time they were very nicely led for the first time actually, with such perfect leadership as Shmuel's. And they basically patched him in the face by asking him, Shmuel, their shofet, to get a king to be their shofet. We discussed that earlier in chapter 8. And now Shmuel is telling the people that if you follow in the path of God, if you observe His Torah, and you will learn the Torah, you will thrive, you will survive with your king. And in fact, the message, the real overriding message of Sefer Shoftim, is that had they done that, they would have thrived under the Shoftim also. They would have thrived under any type of leadership if they're following the Torah. But if you're not following the Torah, and the king is not serving as a good example, then having that power structure of a king will not be helpful. As long as Shaul was following the ways of Hashem, the Plishtim were impervious. The Israel was impervious of the Plishtim. They could not in any way, shape, or form conquer us. But when Shaul turns away from God, when Shaul loses his connection to Torah and to spirituality, when Shaul refuses to obey God's command time and again, and he appeals to a necromancer, a witch, to find out what's going to happen, then God will turn away from him, and the Plishtim will have their way with him. So this is the message of chapter 12, is that the leaders will all be successful if they commit themselves to Torah. Shmuel makes reference to 6 leaders, Moshe, Aaron, and he mentions himself, Shmuel, their current religious leader. And he also mentions Bedan, which is Shimshon, Yiftach, and Gidon, who he calls Yerubbaal. The Gemara in Maseches Rosh Hashanah calls these 3, Shimshon, Gidon, and Yiftach, Kalei Olam, the lowest of our leaders. And Moshe, Aaron, and Shmuel, of course, the greatest of our leaders. But yet they're all mentioned in the same verse, 6 of them, 6 leaders of Israel. Because the fact is, Gemara first says, Yiftach bedoro ke Shmuel bedoro. Each one of the 3 lightweights are, in their generation, they're the one you have to go to. It says in the Torah, you'll go to the prophet who lives in that day. Is there a kavamina that you're going to go to a prophet who lives in a different day? No, it means that that's your prophet, that's your leader. Every generation gets the leader they deserve. And what's happening here in chapter 12 is that Shmuel is telling them, whether your leader is Yiftach, whether your leader is Shimshon, whether your leader is Gidon, it doesn't matter. Your leader could be Moshe, Aaron, and Shmuel. As long as you are following the Torah, that leader will succeed. That's the general message of chapter 12 of Sefer Shmuel. It's long in its delivery, but it's a powerful one nonetheless. Our people are only as powerful as our observance of the Torah.